YouTube, quick and easy show today. We got a smooth hour with SEC Network's Peter Burns as we enter week 3 of maternity leave. But this is our third straight interview and our third straight banger. I thought it was good.
It was great.
It was great. Please subscribe.
Enjoy. It is Unnecessary Roughness. First of all, hello. It is Unnecessary Roughness. My name is Brandon Walker. We enter week 3 of maternity leave for my co-host. Week 3 or week 4?
3.5.
3.5. Yeah, the first time we didn't have a guest. Then we had a guest, then we had another guest, and now we have another guest today. So that's 3 weeks of maternity leave. Shout out to Casey Smith, our good friend, our podcast co-host, and mother now. So she is home there with her young son, and they are doing well as far as I can tell. By the way, Katie, make sure I give you this check to send to her later today.
Okay.
I'm not giving her a gift. She actually pays my rent for me. Anyway, it doesn't matter. This show, Unnecessary Roughness, brought to you by High Noon Hard Seltzer. And what a day for High Noon. What an awesome accomplishment. Not only are you going to be able this summer to drink High Noon Hard Seltzer, the best vodka seltzer out there on the market that uses real vodka, real juice. Now, maybe you're not a vodka person, or maybe you wanted something different. You've got real tequila plus real juice. High Noon Tequila Seltzers are sitting right in front of me, and this is exciting. Not only do they have the new drink with tequila seltzers, they have a brand new flavor, strawberry. And knowing what I know about High Noon, and how they knocked lime and peach and grapefruit out of the park, that strawberry is going to be good.
I'm very much more of a tequila person. I love High Noon vodka.
Yeah.
So I'm that much more excited to actually have their tequila.
Have you tried it yet?
I had a little sip of the lime. It was, and we always say like it's lukewarm for like all the peach and stuff. It's great.
Yeah.
This one was too. We just got fresh shipment of pallets. I'm very excited. It was
Well,
very
luckily
good.
we have somebody here with great attention to detail like yourself that put these in the fridge for us so they're cold, right? We have fun here. Anyway, High Noon Tequila Seltzer, strawberry, lime, grapefruit, passion fruit. You can get it wherever you get High Noon. It's going to be the summer of tequila seltzer. That's my prediction right now.
What do you think is going to be your favorite?
Strawberry is definitely going to be my favorite. I love all strawberry flavored things, and the fact that High Noon, who does great flavors, the fact they have strawberry now is a game changer.
A Masters Green as well.
Yeah, that is a Masters Green.
Yep.
The Masters. You know, I got tickets to the Masters.
Yeah, I know
this
you're
year.
going this year. Weird scenario how you got them, but I hope you
I just
have
needed
fun.
somebody to die. That's fine.
Yep.
All right. So, speaking of golf, because I'm looking at a guy who's just got golf flags all over his. Well, you can tell. You can't hide money. You guys got golf flags on the wall? You can't hide money. Anyway, a couple weeks ago, we had Josh Pate, and then we had Jason Brown, that idiot. And this week, we actually have someone professional and who is an awesome, awesome voice in the college football realm. It is SEC Network's Peter Burns. And Peter Burns has joined us. Peter, thank you very much for joining Unnecessary Reference. I feel like we talked about this 2 or 3 years ago. Hey, we come on the show, Now we're finally doing it.
Well, it's so funny because, I texted my girl Casey and I was just like, catching up and see how mom life is like and stuff like that. And she's like, man, it's a ton of work and there's good and there's bad and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, it's like being an LSU football fan. Like, it's like the whole chaos and all of it. And so she said, make sure you tell Brandon that you wish I was on and with you and that I'm actually closer with you than I am Brandon. And then I started thinking about that. I go, well, wait a minute. I've known Casey for years and she's never given me the invite. Okay. It took you to invite me. So technically, I don't think Casey and I are as close as she thought we were. And here you are the one sending me the invite. So I think we know that the relationship has changed at this point.
I think it turns out that me and you are just a hell of a lot closer than we thought we were.
Yeah, just really when it comes down to it.
We're just boys. We're just so I met Peter at Omaha a couple of years ago. That was the first time I met him in person. But Peter Burns has done the one thing that you can do to make me a fan of yours for life. Does anybody know what that is?
Shout you out on
He
TV?
shouted me out on the SEC Network, yeah. A couple of times he would be like, coming out of a Mississippi State game, I know my buddy Brandon Walker's happy down there in Starkville. You do that, I'm loyal to you till the end. I'm a very self-serving person. So thank you, Peter, for doing that.
I try to do, I try to do that because I mean, sometimes, for those who don't know, our studios are based in Charlotte, and so I don't get a chance to go to some of the games, but I've got friends in every single one of the cities, and so I'm like, all right, how do you stay relevant at the game and draw like just a small enough nugget to where people know they know, like, right? I mean, like,
Yeah.
Billy Lucci over at Texas A&M, I'll drop something at Tex Ags, or I'll drop something with your name on it, or with Mincy or somebody else like that. Just and
Well,
then
you
I'll
don't need to do that.
Yeah.
Well, I know, but we'll get into the whole discussion of who saved college baseball later. However, but the idea is I'll drop one or two little nuggets, and sometimes I do it with the host, right? Like whoever's calling the game. Well, I made the mistake this is probably about 2 years ago. Tom Hart, who's great, fantastic guy, does a bunch of games for us. And I had seen a couple minutes before on Twitter, he said something about his dog, Larry. And I said, all right, well, I'm coming back from commercial break. When I throw it back to Tom, I'll talk to him about, hey, I just want to know about your dog, Larry. And you guys got to find the clip. Like whenever in post edit or something, find the clip. And it's I can't do it justice. But basically, I'm like, and now, Tennessee's up 43 to 28 at halftime. Let's go back out to Knoxville. And, Tom, tell me about your dog, Larry. And Tom goes, well, we had to put him down last week, Peter. But
yeah.
Being postponed and first half analysis. Now, I kind of want to know a little bit more about Tom Hart's dog, Larry, actually.
Well, we had to put him down a few weeks ago, Peter. Thanks for asking.
And so it's like, holy shit. Like, could I not have picked a worse time to pick about this guy's dead dog, literally right in front of the studio audience? So sometimes it works with you. Sometimes Tom Hart will never talk to me again. So screw it.
Well, first of all, I appreciate one thing, the fact that you just brought that clip to my attention, because I had never seen that clip, and I will spend the rest of today finding. You found it already?
I found it.
Awesome.
You found the dead dog Larry already?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll just drop that in and post. If you've never seen it, and I haven't, I can't wait.
Sorry about Larry to Tom Hart.
Yeah, shout out Tom Hart. We're not all heartless like Peter Burns.
Yeah, just he could have. And the bad part about it is he could have rolled with the punches and been like, hey, you know what? Larry passed away.
Oh, don't put it on him.
Oh,
don't put it on him.
No.
That's crazy.
What Tom ends up doing is completely throwing me underneath the bus the whole time. And so there I am. I guess maybe I was the asshole, but still, like, that just wasn't that cool. So my fault.
Oh yeah. Well, no, that's how long ago was that?
I don't know. You got the
January 12th, 2021.
2021, 2 years
I
ago.
vaguely remember.
Or at least
this.
that's when one of
January
our guys,
12th.
Reegs, tweeted it.
So
That's what. Yeah, I think I actually tweeted that.
and we were still going through COVID. There was a lot going on in the country, and you're still piling on with the dead dog. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Some things never change, really. I mean,
It
I
is
have
what
a
it-
question for both of you.
for both of us.
So obviously Peter's on the SEC network.
Yeah.
How did the South react to the SEC network when it got announced, and how it was on TV and whatnot? Because, I mean, obviously there's an older fan base and younger fan base, but the older fan base probably struggles a little bit.
That's a great question. It's a phenomenal question. He's inside, so I'll let him. He's obviously more educated about it than me. But being in the South when it was announced, and I don't really remember the timeline. I believe at 2014 SEC Media Days is when it was announced.
no, so it was announced prior to that, before I was even involved in it, right?
Okay.
Like, so because I was the last anchor hired for it, and I was hired in June of 2014, and we launched in August of 2014. But I think it was announced the year prior that they were going to, like, I think in 2013 is when they said, all right, they're going to announce it, which is hilarious because you're saying I'm on the inside of it, but I owned my own sports media company in Denver, Colorado at the time. And I was like, holy hell, dude, this is going to be awesome. Like, I'm born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, diehard LSU fan. I'm like, this will be great. And I had no idea a year later I would stumble into an audition and an interview for it and get the gig.
I think what I'm remembering is 2014 SEC Media Days, which I haven't been to many. That was actually my first. I think they passed out material telling us what it was going to be. Like, it's launching in a month. Actually, yeah, that's right, because 2014 was the first year of the SEC Network, and it was the year Mississippi State went to number one. That all kind of dovetailed. But I remember being there, and they passed out this material saying we're going to have these SEC story things. We're going to have documentaries about Mannings and Kroom and all this. So I didn't. But I don't know that people, when it came out, when it was announced, knew exactly what it was going to feel like or look like, right? I just think it was one of those, like, if you take SEC fans and you just give them anything SEC, they're going to consume it, they're going to love it, and they're going to be passionate about it. So it was the perfect conference to have it because SEC fans wake up in the morning. Well, first of all, let me go back. They don't wake up as SEC fans. They wake up as Alabama fans, as Auburn fans, as LSU fans, and they say, how do I consume something that has something to do with Alabama, Auburn, and LSU? And the fact that there's a big top, like a tent there now with you guys doing that, it was perfection.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, it's funny because everybody talks about, you know, football world, and of course, football is freaking king, right? I mean, look what you guys do here on the pod. I mean, that's what rates, that's the numbers, but it's the other stuff that really helped the sports fans, right? Like baseball season, softball season, basketball, men's and women's, all the other sports. I mean, hell, I call SEC golf championships, you know, each and every year. And it was that stuff that actually helped. I mean, the SEC was already doing pretty well when it came to football and stuff, but it's the other ancillary sports that help, because now when you got recruited by somebody, a coach could just say, hey, you know, if you're from California, you want to make sure you watch your kid play baseball every single game. Well, guess what? SEC Network's going to have every single one of these games. Or, you know, if you want your girl to play softball or track or whatever, all these things are going to be televised. So it already helped, you know, kind of build the brand. But it's actually the other sports probably assisted more with rather than just college football.
Oh yeah, I think ESPN Plus and SEC Network Plus and all that stuff too is I would be very curious as to the numbers if you broke out by conferences and you said, this last week, this conference had this many people watch their college baseball games. This conference had this many people watch. I would imagine, as far as college baseball watchers on ESPN Plus and all that stuff, I would say the SEC might hit 80%. Like 80% of all fans that watch.
That goes for gymnastics, softball. I'm trying to think of even more. Volleyball, probably. I know Texas has a very
Nebraska, maybe.
Big Ten. Yeah,
you're a diehard LSU fan.
I mean, but hell, we had 14. I mean, there was 14,000 at the Dude a couple of days ago at Duty Noble Field for a baseball game, like college baseball. And that's kind of one of the things. I mean, I will get into football here in a little bit, but that's one of the things when we launched that was kind of frustrating for people, is because they were finding out about the technology, right? Like traditionally, we've always gone to ESPN or CBS or Fox or Sports to watch a game, but then when ESPN came involved, then they had the opportunity to put some of this stuff on ESPN Plus and SEC Network and on the app. And like my dad watches every LSU baseball game, right? Well, it took him like a good 3 months to kind of like Google and figure out how the hell do I watch this game on my, you know, coming off from an online stream. And then now like fans have just gotten smarter. Like they realize it's easier enough to do, like, and the technology's gotten a little bit better. So it's, you know, it's changed, I think, a lot of just how, you know, even deals, like probably with you guys in the bowl game, like streaming technology got so good to where now a younger generation is going to be like, the hell is cable? All right. Like, why can't I just go directly to the content that I want? And I think it's changed the game like that.
Hey, can you hook me up? I'd like to go broadcast a Mississippi State baseball game.
We could probably make that happen. I was good. Midweek game, though. I don't know if I trust you on the weekend. How about me and you? I'll give you a midweek game. Me, you.
Let's go.
And we'll do it. Yeah, we'll listen. We could talk to Lamonis over there. Like
Mississippi State against, let's say they're playing South Alabama or Alcorn State. Let's just go do it.
Listen, I've been asking them to do more of these kind of, because I get jealous about what you guys get a chance to do over there, which is kind of break down the wall of, you know, traditional broadcasting, and that's one of the things that I think that we kind of try to do a little bit more with as far as SEC Network, and I try to do it on my radio shows, but still sometimes it's tough when you're dealing with a traditional broadcast, and I think we're finally starting to turn the table on there, just going, hey man, you don't have to be suit and ties on the set, you know. I mean, for 40 years it's been that way, and now, you know, I think a younger generation, and even my generation, wants something more laid back than they want old school type broadcast.
Well, let me ask you this. It kind of leads directly into this question. You have just said you're a diehard LSU fan, right?
Yeah.
But as you're presenting the highlights, you're presenting the day, you can't be a diehard LSU fan while doing that. But has it ever leaked through? Has it ever tried to get out while doing one of these situations?
Oh yeah. I mean, listen, I got called in the principal's office not too long ago, which is one of many different things in my file, because I literally, I'm married to a diehard Alabama fan. And so we went to the LSU Alabama game this year. And of course, if you remember that game, last second, they score a touchdown. Then Jaden Daniels goes for two, or, they go for two and they do it. And you'll probably show the video of this as well too. And you get it. Like, I'm filming myself and my wife, Lauren, in the stands, and I'm not filming the play. I'm just filming our reaction about what's going to happen. And then I just start losing my ever living shit. Like, I just start going crazy,
Yeah.
And I jump up and down and stuff like that. And you can tell she's so despondent. And the amount of calls and emails I got just going, as the SEC network anchor for all 14 schools, probably not the best idea to be jumping up and down that Alabama lost, right? Like, I'm like, technically correct. But Brandon, y'all know, I don't make any bones about it. Like, I think you got to be transparent. All of our viewers over the last 9 years have known that I'm a diehard LSU fan. Yeah. But you just have to also be careful as well too. Like on broadcast, it doesn't really matter.
That criticism, and I'm not making fun of anybody who said that to you, it is just an antiquated way of thinking, because the reality of college sports fandom is we respect passion. We respect the love. Yeah. I want to know that you care as much as I care, because I fucking care, right? Like, I'm deep into it. And the fact that I got a broadcaster, is he rooting against my team tonight? Yeah, because his team's playing. I think that respect, I think if we allowed sports fans to make their own decisions, I don't think there's many Alabama fans that would watch that and be like, oh, hell with Peter Burns. He got happy when we lost. No, that's competition, and that's just where we are in 2023. That's the real. And that I think showing the real is better than not.
Is that your wife in the background? Like, you guys weren't sitting next to each other?
Yeah, no, we were sitting next to each other, but like, we literally, she'll drink me underneath the table. She's a diehard. That's how we met in Denver, Colorado, was that she was sitting there talking trash to, some kind of Colorado fan, I think. And then all of a sudden she was like, yeah, roll blank and blank Tide. And I was like, who the hell is this girl talking
Love
trash?
At first sight.
Yeah, it's about a Colorado Avalanche.
What a love story.
And I went in there and I was just like, go Tigers. And then, we started talking shit to each other. Next thing you know, we go on a date. And now we've been, together actually 11 years today.
Wow.
So, and it's crazy, man. And that's it, people made fun of it just means more. And even when I remember when the phrase came out, I'd be like, okay, this is kind of weird. But then you start thinking about it, like, it does. Right. Like, and it's hard to explain for people that aren't in the SEC footprint about how just batshit crazy we are about the sports. Like, we do care, and we hate the other teams. And sometimes we pull for the other teams because they're like, well, that's like my brother. I hate them. That's a rivalry, but I'd rather them win than Michigan win. Right. Or Clemson win or something like that. Like, it's a weird world, man, but I freaking love it.
Well, they don't understand. We live it 24/7, 365. Like, if I'm back home in Mississippi and my tooth hurts and the only dentist in town is an Ole Miss graduate, I guess my tooth's just gonna hurt, because I ain't doing it. I'm not lining that guy's pocket. It's just not gonna happen. So I want to get more into kind of behind the scenes of what you do, right?
Yeah.
Now, typical Saturday night, right? Let's say it's third Saturday in October, and you're on the desk. Kind of leading things back there, right? You guys will be watching the games as you're waiting to go on the air, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Who's your ESPN or SEC Network colleague that gets the most animated while watching these games? And is it you?
It's probably, Chris Doering is definitely one of those guys. For those who don't know, great Florida wide receiver from back in the day, and he's locked in. And it's funny because he just gets so frustrated and he's like, listen, he's like, I talked to coaches this week. They said they're going to do that. And he's like, they didn't do that. So he definitely gets a little bit frustrated. Marcus Spears was incredible about that. Like, I remember when we first started, I'm like, I can't believe this is my job. Like, I go to work on Saturdays and I'm watching football with like Booger McFarland and Marcus Spears and guys that I grew up loving. And I'm like, all right, I get to watch football with you. Like, it's incredible. I will say this. He gets the most fired up. Takeo Spikes is doing a really good job as well, too. The best we may have ever had, X's and O's wise, was Gene Chizik. Chiz was awesome, the former Auburn head coach. And the first time Chiz was an analyst with us, he wasn't great. I'll put it that way, because you could tell that he wanted to get back in coaching. So he was very like, well, both teams are playing hard, and this is what I see. And I think whenever he flipped the switch, when he realized, hey, I'm done coaching. Now, this is before he went back to North Carolina, and he was just going to do TV.
Relax.
He was so much better that second time. Like, he was awesome as far as like breaking down, like, hey, this is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. Between him and Greg McElroy, like, I thought I knew football, and then you watch football with these guys, you're going, I don't know jack compared to actual football analysts.
Has Takeo Spikes still got that big ass neck?
Dude, it's like
I never seen anything like it.
It's freaking super thick, and it's crazy, man. Like, and you go back and look, and that's what I forget sometimes, and I'll bust Dorian's balls and all this stuff on these other guys. Sometimes you get on set and you forget like how good these guys were. Like, I'll go back and watch Takeo Spikes.
Oh, he was incredible.
Highlights. He was a flipping madman. I mean, just absolute chaotic. And he crushed his audition when we came in. We're like, yeah, Takeo's going to be perfect for us. So,
speaking of, you texted me earlier about my audition. We'll get to it eventually. Okay,
I got it.
Just
Yeah,
relax.
absolutely. Yeah.
My contract still runs 2 years. Just not make it a big deal. What's your best story of watching a game from the studio while waiting to go on the air? You got a good one where anybody break anything?
I've seen Spears get pretty fired up on that stuff. As far as, what's crazy is that we got a guy named Ron Slay now who does basketball.
He did the Mississippi State game last night.
Yeah, did the state game. Like, how fired up he gets about every single play is ridiculous. Like, throw the remote across the room type stuff. Like, he just gets fired up. And we have to tell these guys, like, hey, now that you're on this side, like, we don't use we're not saying like, hey, we need to do this tonight. We need to do that. And I think a lot of people think too, Brandon, like, if you're a fan of a team, people are worried that you're only going to sugarcoat it. I think it's the opposite. I think that if you're a true fan of the team, you're going to hold your team more accountable and be more angry when things aren't going well, because you have a vested interest in them, right? Like, nobody talks worst about LSU when they look like crap than I do, because I expect so much of them, right? And I'm more disgusted when things don't go well. So, I don't think we haven't had people throw a lot of stuff, but Slay's probably the closest we've had.
You ever feel bad that LSU, does so many questionable things in pursuit of winning? Does that make you feel bad?
I was going to say, the amount of things you could talk about from every single college department. That's what
not every single, Peter. I think some of us do it the right way.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess so. Maybe that's the case. I don't know any longer too about like somebody told me a couple of days ago and sent a tweet there, man, morality in sports is dead.
Yeah.
And I was like, because all of it, like the Brandon Miller story at Alabama, and we hear all these other stories that are going on in all college sports. And I was like, I think that's bullshit, because I think there's a lot of morality in sports. I just don't think that we actually showcase those, because it's not interesting to a normal fan that way, like, hey, this is a good dude who does good things. Like, I mean, that's traditionally why when you watch the news, you're going to see the worst headlines and stuff like that. I mean, that's why I know I click on a lot of stuff, because I'm like, oh, damn, what's happening? Like, just chaos. But, I think there's a lot of it there. We just, the headlines is the bad stuff.
I do think morality exists in sports, in college sports. I really do. I think there's a lot of places you can point at it, a lot of places you can point at sportsmanship and everything. But at the bottom line is when morality and winning collide. Morality on one side and winning on this side, and you can only choose one. I think a lot of fan bases would choose winning over morality, and I don't think that's a natural choice. I think that just is born of a passion of waking up every day and wanting to win.
A perfect example is made, and this is not like necessarily right or wrong as far as bad, morality, life choices, right? But think about Dabo. Okay, Dabo is for a while. He's like, bro, I'm not taking any transfers. I don't do that. Like, I have this moral stance that, yeah, if you're a Clemson dude, you're a Clemson guy, right?
Yeah.
I don't need to go out. Well, guess what? Clemson wasn't good for a year or two. Well, guess what Dabo's doing now? He gets past the morality of not taking any transfers, and now he's getting more transfers in. So, I mean, I think there's different shades of it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you're hired to win games, and hopefully you're doing it the right way.
Dabo's just standing out on the interstate out there in Greenville, just with a sign that says, "We'll take transfers for food. We'll take any transfer you got right now. Come on in. The water is fine." A couple more questions for you here. So you not only do what you do, you're a studio host. You do the golf championships, but occasionally you'll sit in Paul Feinbaum's chair, correct?
Yeah. I've been doing that, gosh, probably since 2015 or so, 6-7 years. Yeah.
What about them crazy ass people?
They are the actual slogan behind it just means more, you know. Listen, I didn't understand it, man. I didn't understand it until you sit in the chair about, like, as soon as you get in, you got 8 phone calls, 8 lines on hold waiting to talk to Paul.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm looking at this and I'm like, man, like, these people are absolutely crazy. And I realized, though, yeah, they're part crazy, but they're part enthusiastic. They love what they do, and they like being part of the circus. And I think that's the crazy part that I admire the hell out of, is like, he's created, right? Like, I respect any type of content that creates like a family, or like creates this like landscape around it. Like, you guys have done that. This pod has done it. Like, Paul's done it. Like, there's a lot of people. I haven't done it quite yet, you know, of how do you get enough people that care about your product and your content and what you care about, that will follow you to the world, that will get, you know, High Noon Tequila behind you, like, and get other callers that'll wait on hold for 2 hours. Like, that's awesome, you know, and it's crazy, but man, he is the conductor of a damn interesting orchestra.
That got me to thinking. Because we've been SEC focused here, I'd like to stretch out beyond the SEC. But if you were, if ESPN or some broadcaster came to you and said, "Peter, you're our guy. See what Feinbaum does for the SEC? We want you to do that, but you got to pick another conference. We're going to do the same thing, but we're going to do it in another league." What league do you think works the best?
Well, I could not do it, because like my intense, almost disdain for every other major conference now, like, has just completely gone off the charts.
Let me tell you something. Do you like zeros?
I do like zero. Well, and here it comes in the broadcast mentality. If you really want to get into some deep stuff, right?
Let's do it.
I've seen people that were working in our industry that decided, you know what, I don't necessarily believe what I say, but I'm going to change industries because I can make a whole lot of money. Right. Like, and I see that, I'm like, man, like, how do you do that? And and to me, I don't even know. I don't know if like the Big Ten or the ACC or Pac-12, if somebody could say, you know what, I'm going to pay you $5 million a year and you're going to be that anchor. I mean, I guess at some point I could fake it. Right.
Yeah.
But I'd have a hard ass time doing it. And I'm weird, man. And I understand that people hate me for that, because I'm the one who always screams SEC, SEC, SEC. And I guarantee you, from the outside looking in, I probably would hate myself, right? Like, who the hell cheers for a conference? But when you go to Starkville, or you're there in right field at Swayze and for baseball, or you go out and you hang out with Mark Stoops over at Keeneland at the races, and you get to know these people, like, you realize, like, it's the best conference that's out there. I'd have a hard time, man. Even though I like zeros, man, I like self-respect even more, and what I like to cover.
Not me, brother. Listen, as you're right, it is the best conference in the world. Big Ten, I'm looking you dead in the eye. If you pay me $5 million a year, I will move to Sheboygan next week.
Well, you are moving the Big Ten country.
I sure am.
Yeah.
So I already sold out.
You're excited for that UCLA Rutgers matchup? You'd be dialed into that for the right.
Hey, that's coast to coast football is what that is, brother. All right, that's all. That covers everybody in between. That's coast to coast football. And no, do not ever make me watch UCLA Rutgers, please. What was my next question about that? Oh, yeah. So you've been in this game for a long time, man. You're very good at it, very talented. Do you ever want to get out and be a game broadcaster that like a Brad Nessler, like a other Brad Nesslers? I don't know why I couldn't think of any right now. But you know what I'm saying. Chris Fowler's. You ever want to get around to games and do 14 games a year, something like that?
Man, I think it's fun just because that's the one thing I do miss is that I'm always in studio, right? Like I don't get the chance to be out there. I mean, I've gone and watched McElroy call games from the booth, like in some of the bowl games and some of the stuff he's done, and just the environment you have of being boots on the ground is awesome. Like the stuff that you guys do with the tailgate, right? Like to be there, or college game day to be on location, that's great. I just don't think I mean, I'm fraudulent even to get here. Like the fact that I have like faked it and made it all the way, like I chuckled when you said professional. I'm like, people don't understand. I didn't know how to tie a tie when I got the audition, like for SEC Network. Like I was a radio show host, and I had never done TV, never read a teleprompter, never done a highlight, and like somehow faked it through my audition and got the dream job. So like it's taken me 9 years to be decent at it. There's no way I could ever call games. I'd be an epic. Absolute disaster.
Did we just stumble on the fact that you're unqualified?
No, I've known that. In fact, I think everybody has known that, not only from my work, but just like I literally went into my audition. I actually turned down the audition the first time I got it because I was like, they want me to be the anchor. I'm like, no, I'm not doing this audition because I was so afraid of failing that I was like, screw it, I'm not going to do it. And the agent that I had, he called me back and he's like, you need to do it. And literally my fiance at the time was like, hey, go do this. Go, like, no matter if you fall flat on your face. So I went into the SEC Network audition basically apologizing. Like they probably had like 20 different anchors come in. They're like, oh, I do this and this, I anchor, and I'm in this city and I do this, and I've been doing all these games and stuff like that. And I legitimately went in, I'll be like, this is so awesome. I'm going to fail so spectacularly. Can I get video of how bad my audition sucks? Because like, I'm just here to have a little fun and learn. And maybe ultimately I've been faking it for 9 years now. So,
but do you think that's why the SEC Network works? Ultimately, there's some other ones. Big Ten still around, but Pac-12 Network's at its wit's end. That may be because of the fan bases as a whole. But the SEC Network, you can feel the passion come across, even from the anchor, which is supposed to be unbiased, quote unquote, even though we're kind of, I mean, Barstool's shown it, other places have shown it, that the unbiased anchor may not be the way to go all the time anymore.
Well, it's funny because there was the lady who hired us all is a lady by the name of Stephanie Drizly. So she started the SEC Network, and I remember her vividly saying in my even meetings with them and when talking about all of the talent, like Marcus Spears had never done television ever. Booger McFarland hadn't done a whole heck of a lot. Casey Smith was one of our first hires, and she hadn't done a whole heck of a lot other than maybe TexAg stuff, and myself and other people. And she said, I want people that are so passionate, to your point, that who would I want to be stuck at the airport with? And she's like, I know a bunch of people that I could make a phone call today that would be incredible. They're talented. They've done this forever, but it's cookie cutter. She's like, if I got stuck at an airport for 6 hours, who would I want to bullshit with SEC sports about? Like, and who would be passionate about it? And she's like, I can teach you the television stuff. I can teach you what to do on air and how to work on it. What I can't teach you is your passion and how much fun you're going to have and that you actually give a shit about the product. And I thought that was always kind of something interesting about, right place at the right time,
Again, it's crazy that my contract ends March of 2025. Just write that down. Anyway, what'd you say? What'd you say, Jack?
Oh, nothing.
Oh, I thought you brought that up again. I thought.
So you want to you're calling Ole Miss baseball in 2026. Is that what you're telling me? So I'll
we will fight, Peter. I promise you. One more thing. Can you shout me out more?
Possibly. It just depends. If State keeps winning, I mean, if I can get Zach Arnett doing a little bit more.
Well, let me tell you. I'll tell you the truth, though. We mess with each other, we joke with each other, but I think the first time you did it was a basketball game ended, and my mama called me like 5 minutes later. They just said your name on the SEC Network. Can you believe this? And I was like, yeah, Mom, it's okay. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
But those are the people that
made her whole month.
That's probably when she thought, you made it.
Yeah, she was like,
you were a loser before.
Yeah, Brandon wasn't lying.
That still happens to me. Like the famous, and I think Okay, I think you are the one who sends out the tweet occasionally when someone mentions it, and it's the Leonardo DiCaprio for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood
Yep.
going,
Yeah.
that still happens to me. Like if I heard somebody even drop my name in like a broadcast, I'm like, how cool was that? I mean, I'm the flipping anchor of the network. I'm on every single day, but I don't, I don't consider myself that. Like I consider myself a fan, and like that's the stuff we need to be doing more often. Like, I mean, yeah, you got to be professional to a certain extent and put those on, but we gotta relax a little bit and have a little bit more fun.
What's the latest night you ever had in studio?
4 a.m. We had so back in the day, we would wait on let's say Mississippi State was playing Missouri baseball. So it's not like the biggest 1 versus 2 matchup.
Right.
But we have to do like an hour-long Sports Center show called SEC Now afterwards, and we would wait, and we literally had a game that went, I want to say it was me and Ben McDonald, that it was a game that went like 17 innings, and you're just sitting there, and as soon as the game's over, you still got to do a 30-minute show.
Wasn't that us in LSU?
Well, they've had a couple of them. There was one like that. There was one in 2015 that went way, way long. I think the LSU State one was probably like
18 or 19.
Yeah, and I think it was a 6-hour game because I think it was Mike Morgan and Ben McDonald calling it. And then it's almost you just get loopy.
Yeah.
Like but people are watching, man. It's crazy.
The 7 overtime LSU Texas A&M.
That game was crazy.
Yeah.
74-72. I mean, that game actually changed the damn overtime rules. Like it got
Yeah.
they were so worried about people playing so much and like guys passing out basically on the field from exhaustion that they're like, yeah, this is probably not the best idea that we do.
Maybe, but anytime you got a game that's so awesome and so incredible that they change the rules for the worse, you got to do it, right? Because everybody loves games ending on forced 2-point conversions.
Yeah, we love that.
It's all right. I'm going to get to a couple 2-minute drill questions, which is just some off-color questions that I'll ask you in a minute. But before I do that, 2023 SEC football, because there's no off season, it's always football season. Spring football will kick up in about 4 or 5 weeks. LSU is going to be full of themselves. They're gonna come into this thing as one of the favorites in the SEC. How are you feeling about it?
Actually pretty good because I think Georgia, you look at their schedule next year and it's out of control. Like now, of course, they were supposed to play Oklahoma, but because Oklahoma's coming in, they had to move that one off the schedule. But I mean, they should skate over in the East. And again, I know I've upset some of my friends over at Alabama and their football facilities, but I still believe that it's LSU over Alabama this year. Yeah, I mean, you bring it back Jaden Daniels. We haven't had the coordinator turnover. I mean, Alabama probably is going to go with Ty Simpson at quarterback. I don't think they'll go with Jalen Milroe, but we'll see what plays out during the spring. And at some point, man, kind of trying to change these coordinators every single year, like I just don't see that being an easy highway for them to make it back to Atlanta. Now the game against LSU is at least in Tuscaloosa, and I think even makers have put it out. I think you guys have it as like a 9.5 point Bama favorite, but then again, they were a pretty big favorite against LSU this year too.
Well, the thing about the SEC West, man, and it's like this a lot, but I think this year particularly will be like this. There's no off week. There's no bad team. There's no bad team. Like Mississippi State's going to be good, 9-4 with a new coach and new everything. Arkansas is going to be pretty good. A&M's going to be better. They can't be worse. And then Auburn with Hugh Freeze will be better. Like this is going to be a crazy SEC West. It might not have the slam dunk number 1 team that the SEC West often has. Yeah. But it's going to be a war every week.
Yeah, and that's what's happened too, and that's why the transfer portal has kind of been so interesting because so many guys that all of a sudden you can pick up a Devin Leary at NC State that goes to Kentucky that makes them a little bit better. We saw that with Will Levis, in guys that are transferring. Even Jaden Daniels over at Arizona State. I mean, he immediately goes to LSU. Wasn't even going to be the starter. It was going to be either like Garrett Nussmeier or Miles Brennan, and Miles Brennan gets done, and then boom, Daniels plays. So the transfer portal has changed it because people want to play in this conference. They know that scouts are going to be watching every single game. Why not be out there where there's 100,000 people and the cowbells are ringing, or they've got these great rivalries. So it's transfer portals definitely help this conference to say the least.
You pro cowbell or anti cowbell?
I'm pro cowbell. Like, why would you? I mean, I'm anti Vandy Whistler, pro cowbell.
One's a lot louder than the other.
Well,
No,
Vandy
no.
Whistler is dead. He was killed.
Ben Mintz killed him.
Yeah, Ben Mintz.
Erroneous. He is alive and well and whistling.
Yeah, but you didn't see this. So what happened was, somebody put out that fake tweet, right?
I did. I saw that, and I saw that I think his wife got highly upset.
Really? So they did the fake tweet, but Ben Mintz, God bless him, fell for it and did a video. He did a video where he was like, I saw where the Vandy Whistler died, and prayers up to him, but you guys are DMing me on Twitter saying I killed the Vandy Whistler. I did not murder the Vandy Whistler. What do you think I am, a murderer? And just played it so straight. It was like, all right, just relax.
Yeah, but isn't Ben under suspicion, or did he get clear in the investigation of who let people into the bar?
Oh, that's still under investigation.
That's still yeah. He's
okay. I'm just making sure, because I know that's why he basically got banned from New York City, from what I understand. Right?
He's questionable at best. All right, and we can see where.
Brandon had a great line about him yesterday on his show, Pick Central. The best Ben Mintz is when he's far away from you.
Correct. Yeah. The best Ben Mintz is when he's nowhere near me. That's my favorite.
We've been enjoying the hell out of Ben Mintz the past few months.
All right. So here's your 2-minute drill questions. It's just these might be sports, they might not. I don't know.
Actually, one question before that. SEC quarterbacks, all the hype about Will Levis being drafted top 10. Where do you see him? Or like we kind of joke about it, Brandon especially. It's like, what do you guys see in him? What are your thoughts where draft stock?
I mean, best comp of obviously ends up being a Josh Allen, kind of a similar situation. He didn't play great his final year, but you could blame that on a bad offensive line that Kentucky had. Like, people love him because he's a competitor and he's got the size. Like, it would not shock me if somebody tried to outthink themselves and said, I'm going to take Will Levis over Bryce Young. Simply, especially because now we know that Bryce Young is like 5'10" and 185 pounds.
185 maybe pushing it.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, like, he'll literally just try to gain weight, just on his way in type stuff. But I mean, Levis will probably go top 10. The crazy one I'm trying to figure out is what the hell's going to happen with Anthony Richardson, because I mean, like, there's been no other quarterback that's more Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And I remember Dan Mullen saying, he's like, man, if I put this guy in, he could be one of the best I've ever seen. But also at the same point, like, he's just so inconsistent. Like, he's even more so, maybe, he's shown better flashes that Trey Lance showed, but then Trey Lance struggled to make the adjustment over on the NFL level.
I think they're both going to go top 10, and I it's a risk. They're both risk, but they're going to kill the combine, which is this week. They're absolutely both going to destroy the combine because they're both.
And if you hit on a quarterback, right? Think about it. Russell Wilson, you hit on Joe Burrow, you hit on all these great quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts. The amount of money that you can spend that you don't have tied up to cap space on the rest of your team, I'm surprised teams don't take a quarterback in the first couple of rounds every single year, even if they're in a good situation, unless you have a Hall of Famer, because you never know, why could you not stash one? And if it works out, you could either trade them or you reset your clock where you can put all your money into offensive linemen or wide receivers or defense.
Before we go any further, Jack, you know what I like doing?
Tell me.
I don't like telling you.
Well, okay, then don't
That's
tell
not
me.
what I like doing.
Don't tell me.
Do you know what I like doing? That's the question.
Yes.
Gambling on sports.
I was going to guess being the best podcast host ever.
Wow. Thank you. I like using my considerable football knowledge, and it is substantial. I mean, this brain right here knows football, knows sports. And I use that to gamble on sports, to have fun. The Barstool Sportsbook. The Barstool Sportsbook app is the best place to gamble on sports. It has these incredible parlays there that we have these personalities like me and Dave and Big Cat and other lesser personalities, not on the level of us three. You've got Marty Mush has a parlay every night. Big Ev has a parlay a lot. Megan Making Money. We're all the time giving you these not these bonuses, but we're giving you these boosts. Odds boost is what I'm trying to say. When we'll take a bet, we'll see something we like, and we'll boost it up to give you more value.
You also have Parlay Pluses.
Parlay Plus, in-game parlays. You have all these things that you can use to your advantage. You have data and content that keeps you informed. Easy and secure registration, and the payouts on these things are very, very quick. It's been my most pleasant thing I've ever used as far as easy and simple payouts. It's been fantastic. You can sign up for the Barstool Sportsbook. Do we have a code on the show?
Yep, rough.
Rough. You sign up for the Barstool Sportsbook right now, code ROUGH, and you're going to get a $1,000 bonus play. Free play, $1,000, which means your first bet up to $1,000. If it loses, you get bonus cash. You get bonus cash in that amount. You must be 21 or over, and if you have a gambling problem, Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Check out the Barstool Sportsbook. 2-minute drill question number 1. What's your favorite restaurant in the SEC?
Ooh. I don't say this because of you. Restaurant Tyler in the family room out there in Starkville is pretty.
The guest room.
The guest room. Guest room
right.
out there, but it's that is a solid. Just the whole speakeasy vibe is pretty damn solid.
2/3 of this show has gone there on our road trips. We don't allow Jack to go on the road. But
I'm not allowed.
He's
on
not
the
out
stage.
amongst us.
Taylor Grocery out in Oxford, or right outside of Oxford, is really good. City Grocery as well too. I mean,
Do you feel like you needed to balance it? You said something good about Starkville, so you had to say something good about Oxford too?
I'm just a skinny fat kid who's now thinking about how I need to go back there and get some damn catfish. So
We had the guest room. I took Katie to the guest room. We had the barbecued okra and crawfish dip and the.
I think it's my first time having grits too.
Yeah. Well, these New Yorkers, man, they
okay,
don't.
do you back it up? Like that's.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's a
It was
whole
good.
like you go a back alley, like it's a whole experience.
What
Yeah.
time did you have grits?
I like at the place. I've
Cheese
never
grits
had
for
grits
dinner.
before.
Oh, cheese. Okay.
It's also went to a place in West Point
Anthony's.
that it's the most like bang for your buck of flavor in a bite is some catfish. I've never had it, and it was as flavorful as it was still light.
You
They
get
don't
these
walk
New
out
Yorkers
there
down in
heavy.
the South and show them real food. They don't know how to act, man.
They ain't coming back. I mean, I'm upset and I'm pissed that we never did we haven't had we got True South. Would you've ever watched True South on SEC Network? It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But like to have I want Marcus Spears and a hunting blind going like a full food tour of the SEC as well. Buddy, I'm all in on that.
Big Ten Network had a good one. They used to have a go to restaurants in towns, and I always wonder why SEC Network didn't have something similar too, because I mean it would be phenomenal. Question number 2.
2025, Brandon.
What's that?
I'm just writing it down. You're doing Ole Miss baseball and SEC food stuff in 2025 on the contract.
No, man, that's crazy. March of 25. But anyway, just not that big of a deal. 3-25. Anyway, so next question. If you could draft one fan base in America that would fit in the SEC, and you know what that means. They got to be all in, passionate, crazy. But if you could go out and pick an Ohio State, a USC, anybody in the country, and you're plugging them in as the 15th team in the SEC based solely on their fan base, who are you picking?
Oh, damn. I'm probably going to go, and this pains me to say, I'm probably going to go Ohio State. If for no other reason, I think that they have the same amount of craziness that we have in the SEC. And I think that's why it's worked so well up in Columbus is that they are just like, they're by proxy an SEC. I feel like it's the Urban Meyerization that he brought up there and like infected them with the chaos and crazy that it's the wings true.
The things that have happened to Ohio State are very SEC.
Oh yeah.
That tattoo scandal, that's an SEC scandal. That's SEC. Like that's not a Big Ten scandal. That is an SEC scandal. Urban Meyer being your coach and winning, that's an SEC thing to do. Everything about the way they've the way they played recently, that door just opened. I hope you're not in trouble.
Yeah, that was the wifey she was giving me. By the way, did you see? This is the. I wanted to show this before we do. I do have the Mike Tyson Punch Out.
Oh, you son of a bitch!
Like I got that, and then I got the.
Yes, please. The cowbell. Look at that. Look at that. Look at
Is
that.
this your man cave?
This is So this is where I do the studio, and then I got a couple televisions there, and
Nice.
I'm a huge gamer as well too. So like me and Marcus Spears play Fortnite for like 3 hours a day and curse at 8-year-olds all the time.
Fortnite.
So. I know I'm not happy with it. I want to get away from it. I'm not. This is not a proud moment whatsoever. I know.
Dude, I was playing Bases Loaded 2 in my basement for 2 hours last night.
That's legit.
Have you ever beaten Mike Tyson?
No, and that sucks too. Like I got you would get to like Soto after you get Mr. Sandman, and then you would get I can't remember Soto Popinski. You could crush, but I never beat Tyson. Sucks.
Well, it went Bald Bull, then a second piston Honda, then Soto Popinski, then Super Macho Man.
Yeah.
Then I'm missing one. There it is. There's Bald Bull, Soto Popinski, the Sandman, and then Super Macho Man. Yeah, okay. See, this is how you learn things, folks. This is what we're talking about.
I also that's like the cleanest man cave I've ever seen. If most of the time you have bar.
Well, you saw that a woman just looked in there and make sure he wasn't messing it up.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
that is true. I'm a mess. I'm an absolute mess. So that's that's what it is. And you need to get the Super Nintendo. Do you have the Super Nintendo like emulator that you can play all the old school games like Tecmo, Super Tecmo Bowl, stuff like that?
Peter, come on. This is Brandon Walker you're talking to. I have a stand-up arcade machine
that has everything.
Has every Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis game ever. I sit there and I do it. I also have, of course, the Switch with the old all that. So yeah, I got it all, buddy. I'm a nerd.
I need to get the invite. Like another time, I want to get the invite. I want to do all some video games. So I'm going. I'll go all video games with you. We'll nerd out.
Buddy, you can come back next week, and we don't even have to have these two. We can just talk. we can just talk baseball stars, Tecmo Bowl. We can just talk about it all. I don't even care about the damn SEC no more.
The baseball one you always talk about, home run or something.
Well, there's MVP Baseball 2005 for the PS2.
That's the greatest game.
Yeah, that's the greatest sports game ever made. But when you go old school, then you bring in like Ken Griffey Jr. for the Super Nintendo. You bring in Baseball Stars, RBI Baseball overrated.
Bill Walsh College Football, and then
Bill Walsh 95. Remember playing with Colorado in Bill Walsh 95? You had Cordell Stewart and Rashawn Salam.
I'm sure those guys went to Colorado for love of the game.
Yeah. Well, now we're getting into some other deeper weeds. I guess that was all the 2-minute drill questions I had. So
I have one. What fan base in the SEC do you hate the most, if you can say?
Wow.
Wait, what was that? Sorry.
Maybe which SEC fan base? Maybe most obnoxious.
No, say it again. Say it the way you said it.
Yeah, say it.
Hate the most. But then I don't know if you can say like just most obnoxious. Who's in your DMs the most? Who's in?
I mean. Well, I would say LSU fans, like just collectively, LSU fans are hated, and I would say I get a lot of hell from LSU fans as well too, just simply because like if something goes wrong, they think that I'm going to have their back, and I don't. And so when when the people know that you're a fan, they're like, "Why didn't you stick up for us there?" I'm like, "Well, you probably deserved it if you did something that you needed to be called out on." So I probably get the most amount of hell there. FSU fans are always in my DM. They're upset.
They would fit in really well. They're essentially an SEC team, but
that was my thought. For
Clemson and Florida State are SEC teams. They just don't know it.
Nebraska's close too, I think.
You think Nebraska's crazy?
Yes.
Yes.
I thought Nebraska. I thought about saying it. I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, but they're like a nice crazy.
You're right. They're nice.
They're like, I'm sorry I lit your car on fire, but I was going through some stuff. Like they would apologize. Like
at the same time,
wouldn't do
they'd be like, I'm sorry I torched your car, but I swear to God, if you ever fucking do it again, I will do it again. So
I do have one last question.
Yeah.
In 10 years, is the SEC in the NCAA?
Does it end the NCAA?
Oh,
no.
Is it still a part of the NCAA?
No, I don't believe so. I think that we're going to look at. It's a great question because I think that we're going to look at some type of power structure that comes out. That's more of. I still think that we should go to 4 super conferences that are 16 teams apiece. Have 64 teams. Have a czar of college football. Maybe have Greg Sankey run it. And just completely pull away from it. But now we got a new NCAA president, and I guess he's trying to figure that out because it's been screwed up for a while, and we can't have the NIL stuff is just an absolute mess. And I'm for NIL right now, like absolutely. But the fact that every state does it completely different, I mean, I don't know how long you can continue to navigate those waters that way.
Yeah, we need uniformity. Do you remember? Remember when Dak Prescott ran for 75 yards for that touchdown against LSU in 2014?
So I'll end the pod with this story because I know we all got to roll. So
I say the show was over. Why are you ending my pod?
No, because I know your schedule better than you do, and I'm ADD, and that's a bad thing. I got the Adderall right here to prove it. So the week before that happens, Brandon, we have Dak Prescott on to promote. Hey, you're going to be playing LSU. What's this like? They're great. And so we're getting mic'd up, and I'm trying to make small talk because it's always awkward when you get somebody mic'd up. I mean, we did it even before the podcast. It's like this chit chat. We were trying to all right, we're going to do this and that.
I didn't think that was awkward at all, but okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, Katie, it was awkward as shit, especially if Brandon was doing it.
Just
but that's
Brandon.
A story.
He made it awkward.
Jack was great. But so I asked him, I was like, hey, man, just so you know, I'm a diehard LSU fan. So he's like, and I tell this off air. So we do the interview, and he's Dak Prescott. He's flipping awesome, right?
Yeah.
So takes the mic off, and he goes, hey, man, thank you so much for having me on or whatever. And then he freaking torches LSU, right? The 75-yard touchdown ran for like 100. I mean, they crushed LSU in Baton Rouge. So that Monday, I have him back on SEC Now on SEC Network, and we get mic'd up, and he goes, and I'm getting ready to start the interview that we're taping. I was like, all right, we'll go 3, 2, and he goes, hey, hold up. I go, oh, yeah, everything good? He goes, hey, man, I just want to let you know, I apologize about last week. I know you're a big LSU fan. And I was like, either this guy is the nicest guy out in the history of the world, or this was the greatest troll job, and he talks shit better than anybody I've ever met. And to this day, some 8 years later, I still can't figure out if Dak was trolling me or he's legitimately that nice of a guy.
Apologizing for beating someone's ass is the biggest flex in the world.
It was incredible. He was like,
personal,
hey, I just
bro.
want
sorry, I'm just better than you. Sorry, my bad.
It was just a mic drop moment for Dak Prescott, and I'll never forget it.
Well, listen, I feel like we could sit here and talk for 2 hours. We do have another conflict. Somebody's got to have this room. But Peter Burns of the SEC Network is always a delight. Hey, can we do this more often?
Hey, listen. My contract's up in no, I'm just joking. But yeah, hey, let's do it. I told Casey for a while back. I've been telling him, I was like, let's try to do this. I mean, not every week or so, but whenever you guys want, man, y'all hit me up and we'll have some fun.
Well, depending on how many children she has, we'll have you back much more often. Anyway, I've been looking forward to this for a long time, and you did not disappoint. You were fantastic. That's Peter Burns.
Thank you so much.
Of the SEC Network, and you see him.
Sirius XM Radio.
Yes.
SEC in the morning or mornings?
SEC this morning. I got like 19 different jobs, so you can find me somewhere.
Me and you both, brother, at least until March 25. That's Peter Burns, and that is Unnecessary Roughness.